So what Jesus is telling us in Matthew 24, verse 12, he said, because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will go cold. See what he's saying there? The increase of wickedness. He's telling his disciples the signs that will precede his return. And what he's saying here is that there will be an increase in wickedness. There will be an increase in evil. And he's saying because of that, the love of most, not few, the love of most is going to grow cold. The love of man for their fellow man and the love of man for God is going to grow cold. And we are seeing it in real time, that increase in wickedness in our society, in our culture today. What we are also seeing, and why this message is important this morning, is that we are seeing a rise in spiritual deception, an increase in spiritual deception like never before. And when we read Matthew 24, verse 4, Christ again indicates that this is going to happen. And what does he say in Matthew 24:4? Jesus answered, he said, watch out. He said, watch out that no one deceives you. Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. So this passage about Jesus being the light in the darkness is very, very important now, because first of all, we are seeing an increase in darkness, and we're seeing an increase in wickedness. We're seeing an increase in spiritual deception. And also, if we look at 2 Corinthians 4:4, it tells us specifically that Satan, who rules this world, the devil who rules this world, has blinded the minds of those who do not believe. Satan has blinded the minds of those who choose not to believe. And what happens? So they cannot see the light of the great news of Jesus Christ. Jesus is telling us in John 8:12 that he is the light of the world. Whoever walks with him, whoever walks in him, whoever follows him will not walk in darkness, will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. But what we are seeing is that those who choose not to believe will ultimately be blinded by Satan, who rules this world, and as a result, they will not see the light of Christ. And that is why we are seeing also an increase in spiritual wickedness, in spiritual darkness, in spiritual deception in the world today. This message is also important because what we are seeing is that the world is being plunged into deeper and deeper darkness with each passing day. And what that means is that billions upon billions will go to hell unless we speak the light of Christ into the darkness. This is not the time for pastors to be speaking health, wealth, and happiness when the congregations are going to hell. This is not the time for us to speak messages that will tickle the ears when our friends and families are going to hell. The time is short, and the Lord is coming. And he wants a people set apart and prepared for his coming. We must speak the light of Jesus into the darkness. The message is important because billions will be separated from God for all eternity unless we point them to the light of Christ, the light of Jesus. They will go to hell unless we tell them and make them know that Christ came to set them free. They will be lost for all eternity unless we make them know that the only hope there is for humanity, the only hope there is for every man, every woman, and every child on this planet is none other than Jesus Christ himself. We must speak the truth of Christ into the darkness. This is not the time to play games and to speak messages that will tickle their ears, because billions are on their way to hell. And the Lord is coming soon, whether we like it or not. What saddens me is that our culture today, we see ourselves in today's society and culture as progressive and as enlightened. We see ourselves as progressive and as enlightened. And what is tragic is that the truth is, in spite of how we see ourselves as enlightened and progressive, the truth is that our society, our culture, the world has largely become spiritually blind. And we are walking in deep, deep darkness. What society considers as spiritual enlightenment or progressiveness, whatever it is I want to call it, is nothing but spiritual darkness. And Christ says something very frightening in his word. Jesus says something very, very frightening in Matthew 6:22. What does he tell us? He says something very, very scary. And it exactly points to our culture today. What we think is light in our culture is nothing but darkness. And what did Christ say? He said, but if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If your eyes are unhealthy, if your spiritual eyes are unhealthy, if you're not following Christ, your spiritual eyes will be unhealthy. He's saying that your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? If the thing that we consider is light is actually darkness, he is saying here, how great is that darkness? Our society today, we're walking and we're thinking we're enlightened, but we are actually walking in gross darkness.